Hi guys, welcome to the Kelly Adventures, and today we're going to be doing 10 simple tips for a stress-free party to make entertaining easy and fun. I love hosting, but I hate the stress that comes with it. You know, you're cleaning, you're organizing, you're developing a meal plan, so it's stressful. And in this video, I just wanted to share some of my tips and tricks that will hopefully make your life easier and maybe throw a more enjoyable party for both you and your guests. Some of these tips are relatively just simple things that you wouldn't really, think of right off the bat when you're going to entertain, but they're things that I've found along the way make such a difference in just making everything run smoothly, and so that, you know, the goal is to enjoy your party as much as possible. So I hope they help. One of my favorite party tips is disposable restroom hand towels. These hand towels allow me to focus on my guests and not worry about whether the bathroom hand towel is saturated and gross after many people have washed their hands. They're kind of a higher end paper product that feels like linen and less like paper towels that you would get maybe at, a convenience store. And it's sort of a weird tip, but I've had so many compliments from guests on just a simple solution. I have the links for these in the description if you want to see exactly what type they are. The second tip I have is the event meal prep planner. This is a spreadsheet that I created in Excel to help me organize all of my dishes down to the very last second of when I have to have everything prepared. So as you can see on the left-hand column, you have the name of the dish, and then you have quantity and the person making it. So whether that's you or if you have, other people that are helping out, you can list that there. Then you have the days that you're going to make the dish, the day of the week, or I have make and freeze if I'm making something like a week or two ahead of time and I'm just going to put it in the freezer. Stuff like cakes and desserts that freeze well. And then I have the chafing tray or the crock pot where I'm going to put the dish into, and the thaw date. So if you froze something, you want to get it out by a certain date so that it can thaw in time. For instance, types of meat, your ham, your turkey. And then you have when you want to get it out on the counter before it goes into the oven so it can kind of get a little bit acclimated to room temperature so that it doesn't dry out in the oven as much. And then your time that you want to put it in the oven. So I only have one oven, and it takes a schedule like this for me to figure out how I'm going to organize each dish to make sure everything is warm just in time to have, the guests arriving. So I find that this really helps me to organize everything. And then I'll take it a step further and I'll put it into my Google Calendar to send reminders to myself so I don't forget something, because, it gets crazy on the day of the party. This event meal prep spreadsheet is available on our sister site. We have a recipe website that is called The Kelly Kitchen, and I have the link to the planner in the description for the video. So it will take you to the Kelly Kitchen website where you can download it if you feel like this is something that would help you. These are some of the recipes and desserts and main meals that we make on the Kelly Kitchen. And that's some black bean corn salad there, my chocolate chip cookies, and this is a Sicilian pizza that we make, which is one of our most popular recipes. I make this all the time and I freeze a bunch of it. It's excellent when even in the freezer. You just take it out. It's a quick dinner. Here is an apple spice cake with baked apple flowers. So those are actually the skin of the apples that you make into flowers. It's really neat. And this is broccoli salad. We do have a lot of sides on there too. And here are key lime pie thumbprints. That's a really fun recipe, especially for summer. And perfect pound cake, which I spent a few years perfecting that recipe. These are just sugar cookies with icing, so you like to get a little creative sometimes. and quick creamy spinach and garlic pasta. We make this dish almost every single week. My kids love it. Seasonal recipes like the s'mores trifle and some cupcakes for Halloween. And many of the recipes on this website are excellent for freezing. And that's great to just have things on hand, especially when entertaining. You want to make things as simple as possible. So anything that you can freeze ahead of time to make your life a little easier and less complicated, I would highly recommend. Okay, my third tip is to prep the table and decor ahead of time. So you want to get all of your plates, silverware, serverware out and ready in advance, along with your decor. If it's a birthday, you want to have your candles out and ready to go. And when setting the table a few days ahead, it's a good idea to give the dishes a quick wipe on the day of the party just to make sure there's no dust or nothing has settled onto it. So when it comes to the serverware, I go through all of the dishes that I'm going to be serving, make sure everything has a knife or spoon, whatever you're going to be using. I just make sure I put it out somewhere so that I'm not rummaging through the kitchen while the guests are there trying to find things. People are standing sometimes in front of the cabinet you need to get into. And it's a good idea to have everything out and ready. It just makes it go a lot smoother. The decorations I like to do a couple weeks in advance for the holiday seasons, and the setting of the table I usually do a few days in advance. I don't want it out for too long, but I just, I try to go through everything that the guest is going to need, all of the forks, spoons, knives, what everyone is having to drink. And I make sure to set out the salt, pepper, and any other condiments that are applicable to the event. I try not to go overboard on the decorations. I can't spend too much money, so I try to reuse things when I can. But sometimes just having like fresh flowers out really makes a difference. I love doing that, especially like during the spring. You can see I have some tulips in that picture. And they were just like a simple but elegant way to elevate the decor, because I didn't really have much else going on. And that was just for an Easter party that we were having. And then here, this was just a fall party. So it was really cute to have like little pumpkins out and have a brown sort of theme to it, along with some skeletons, because I think it was around Halloween. I just try to keep it as simple as possible. And then I always try to have some activities for the kids just to keep them entertained. And, it's fun to do some seasonal activities around the holidays. Okay, so number 4 is arranging a coffee bar. Now, we just did this coffee bar, and it's kind of a little bit overkill, but it doesn't have to be as extravagant, maybe just a little table in the corner with a Keurig, whatever you have. I do have another video on how we made this coffee bar, but I find that having everything set up and in one place allows the guests to have something to go do themselves, get some coffee, some snacks, while you're getting the rest of the meal out and prepared. So it's kind of nice for them to just be able to help themselves so that you're not having to stop and help them with the coffee. So I like to have everything set up, the K-cups, creamer, sugar, trash where they can put their K-cups into. Everything is just right there. You have spoons, stirrers, and napkins. There's the creamer, and it's all just in one place. I also like to keep disposable cups as well, and they have lids, and you can put out a Sharpie to go with it so that people can label their cup. And that's just good, Some people like to keep it a little bit warmer in those cups that are insulated. And the Sharpie is just for labeling it. But this is also great for after the meal too. While you're cleaning up all the dishes, then the guests can help themselves to the coffee bar. They know where everything is, and it gives them something to do while they're chatting and you're trying to clean up and get all the desserts out. Number 5 is a front door fan. This only really applies, I guess, to the summer, spring, and fall maybe, depending on where you live. And this is to keep flies and other bugs from flying in as guests are arriving. I have been using this all the time now, and it definitely works. This year it was extremely buggy, and every time someone would come in the door, a million flies would come in. And there's nothing worse than having to chase around flies after you spent so much time preparing food. You just don't want them landing on everything. So this helped cut down significantly on the bugs that would come inside. I also have a link to this exact fan that we use in the description. Number 6 is food labels. So I got these cute little chalkboard food label things on Amazon, and again, the link is in the description. But this made life a little bit easier because when guests arrive, you start entertaining, and you can't really stand around telling each person what every dish is. So you just label what the dish is, and sometimes I would write all of the ingredients or the main ingredients of the dish on it. Helps with allergies, if you want to list that something contains nuts or it doesn't contain nuts, gluten-free, etc. Makes it easier for those, guests to feel more comfortable. And you can get kind of creative with them, make them look a little fancy, and I definitely do these ahead of time. They do take a little bit of time to get everything written down and organized. Number 7 is hand wipes, and these are sanitizing hand wipes that are individually wrapped, and I like to put them out in a dish on the table so that if the guests are eating something that gets their hands greasy, and sometimes the bathroom is occupied or the kitchen sink is being used, usually by the host. So it just makes it easy for the guests to either clean their hands before they eat or after they eat. Number 8 is lighting, and I have the links in the description. These are pillar candles, and I love having these all over. They have a timer with a remote control, so you can just program it, and they really set the mood for the party. Here I had this pirate party that we threw, and we went so crazy with all the decorations, but it was so much fun. So there was tons of lighting and candles all around, a projector with animations, and it was more than just like doing this for the party. It was getting the kids involved, and they would come up with ideas, and then we would see how we could recreate that with backdrops and all of these pirate flags and fish netting. But the lighting really does play a huge part in setting the mood for everything. So we just had lighting going up and down the hallway and these pretend portholes. It was such a fun party. So we like to have a lot of fun with this. And I've included a lot of links in the description if you're interested in any of these products. But we went all out for this. And here's some curtain string lights, along with some Halloween party lights that we did one year. So we are really big into the lights. And of course we do all of this ahead of time. It does take a lot of time and effort to create all of these things, but it's so magical, especially like when you have kids, to see their eyes light up and everything come to life, So this was a mushroom house we did for this mystical gamer party for my son, and it was life-size cardboard house, and I converted it into a mushroom, which was kind of crazy, but I have a whole post on that I have linked in the description on how I did that, along with like northern lights and backdrops, all of these things that went into it to really make it special. Number 9 is kind of a silly little tip, but it's just having a Sharpie with the drinks that you put out, whether it be water bottles or cups, just so that people can label which one is theirs, and you don't end up with like a million water bottles all around with water in them because people forgot. you know, which one was theirs. And the last tip is just having some good music on. So I like to keep it kind of a little bit on the lower side and something easy to talk over, whether you're using YouTube music, establishing a playlist on there, or I mean, that's pretty easy to do. And then you have Spotify. Again, you can make your own playlist on there, and they all have free versions of it. And then there's Pandora. I like to use that too. I mean, there's ads, but I don't think anyone really notices, and it just sets the mood for the party. That wraps it up for today. I hope you found this video useful, and if you did enjoy the video, please feel free to like it and subscribe to our channel. And I would love to know if you have any hosting tips. Please feel free to leave a comment. Also, again, we have links to a lot of the stuff in the video are in the description. Thank you for watching.